We are spiraling. Feels like we've been here before. Some would even call it doomsday. Welcome back to the channel. I don't know about you, but back in the day, I used to watch this show that came on, I think, National Geographic called Doomsday Preppers. It featured different prepping families and gave them rankings on how prepared they were and the likelihood that whatever they were prepping for might actually happen. It was pretty popular. At the time, it was named the highest rated show on National Geographic. And then one day it was just gone. Did you hear that? Snap. And I got to wondering why, especially in light of the things that came after it, like the pandemic, the whole January 6th thing, or whatever it is that's going on right now. Were the ratings actually bad? Did people just lose interest? What made the show abruptly stop? So I did some digging, and you won't believe what I found out.
You're not prepping for a power outage or some bad weather. You're prepping doomsday.
Doomsday Preppers first aired on June 27, 2011 with the pilot. The first episode came out the following year on February 7th. The final episode, aptly named There Will Be Chaos, aired August 28, 2014. The show was an instant success, but also got a lot of criticism due to its heavy gun culture, and I guess I will call them eccentric guests. Honestly, the criticism only made the show more popular, whether people thought they would learn something or they were drawn to the show to see what all the fuss was about. You know, people love to watch car crashes. Personally, I think the idea of prepping isn't bad at all, but the term does have a negative connotation now. Probably because most of the people on the show were kind of on the fringe. They were pretty extreme, not only with how they prepped, but how they viewed the world. And critics were quick to point these things out. The New York Times called the show full of contempt for humankind and said it was a platform for conspiracy theorists with potentially violent ideologies. It's weird because now no conspiracy theory seems that far-fetched. And if you lived through 2019 to 2022, you probably wished you were a prepper. Anyway, the first signs of trouble for the show came when the late gun enthusiast and firearms instructor James Yeager went on a rant on his YouTube channel voicing his opinions about gun rights and how he responds to violence.
Men are going to kill men.
There was a lot of negative press about this, and the episode that he was featured in ended up being pulled from the air.
Part of shall not be infringed does the Supreme Court and most of America not understand.
I mean, the show did encourage people to take survival into their own hands, which is never a bad thing, but people lump anyone who likes guns in with people who live in cults or people who think they're the next Jesus, and National Geographic definitely did its part to propagate that stereotype. I mean, I would consider myself a sort of prepper. I love guns, I love outdoor stuff, I have a few supplies here and there, but I prep for zombies. Trust me, it's gonna happen. But really, there's nothing wrong with some level of preparedness. Back in the early 80s, when people were digging fallout shelters in their backyard because they expected a nuclear attack from the Russians, nobody thought that was crazy. And if you currently trust the government to protect you, you're the one that's on the fringe. See, that's why during the pandemic, I had a great time. People were freaking out, they were terrified, they were scared that they were gonna drop dead any minute. But all I did was sit home, write some crazy books, drink moonshine, and go fishing in my backyard for giant bass. Because I'd been prepping all along for zombies. And you may think that sounds crazy until you remember that right before COVID, Florida was dealing with a few bath salt zombie attacks.
Surveillance footage shows the moments after a Miami police officer fatally shoots a naked man after he refused to stop chewing on the face of another naked man.
See, not as crazy as it seems. No, I got go bags all over my house. I haven't seen them in months, but you never know. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go find them and we're gonna see what's left in them. Probably a few Band-Aids. One sec. All right, I don't know if you can even see this, and I'm trying to keep the audio on the mic because you can't hear anything, but I found 3 bags. This is the one that stays in my car. Paracord. Flashlight that does not come on when you click it. I'm not ready for the end of the world. This is terrible. This is not. This is the opposite. Oh, I just need to be moved around. Flint, rock, and a striker. I could make fires. I'm like, with these right here, I will survive the wilderness for months with just these. That's all I need. A little, I don't know if you call this an axe or a hatchet. I don't know. Got this little paracord grip. If someone had sponsored this video, this would be the point when I would talk about these products. See, Doomsday Preppers, Rashad edition. Cannot go home without a Crocodile Dundee knife. If we were in the UK, they would call these zombie knives, and they would ban them because the UK is all about banning knives. It's very weird.
Where are these youths getting the knives from, though?
The big campaign for me is to try and get the zombie knives, the machetes, the samurais basically banned.
More paracord. Just a regular, like, knife. An empty bottle of off. You need this in Florida. It's not safe. Cold compress, ointment, I think. Iodine, alcohol pads, Band-Aids, big pads. Like, oh, I got shot. I need to live. Look, man, if we are out and about and I'm doing triage on you, you're in bad shape, buddy. You're probably gonna die. This bag was in my closet. Nothing in that pocket. I'm gonna die, apparently. Empty bottle of vitamins. Okay, pause. I moved here almost a year ago. Pretty sure I must have used more vitamins. I must have used this bag. I just threw stuff in. There's like, holy shit. There's water in here. This is disgusting. I gotta pour that out. Maximum Relief. Blue Emu. Not sponsored, but this is great for muscle cramps for all you triathletes out there. Get this stuff. Good. That, if you were running for zombies, you need this. You would deploy this while you were running. You'd be running and you run on your leg and you'd be good. Like, contains emu oil. That's weird. We need to look that up. Somebody look this up and see if it, what is emu oil? I know what an emu is, so don't be a smart ass, but. I like this thing. I was looking for this for a while. I'm gonna put it on my desk now. You see, he's offering me a pen because I'm a writer. You get it? This used to be my main, this one we would go hiking. Haven't been hiking in a minute, but real quick. Compass, yay, tent stakes, glow stick for when I get stuck in the woods at night, bunch of flashlights that do work. Waterproof scratch anywhere matches. Eye drops, I wear contacts. I don't want to be out there. That didn't even make sense, but eye drops. Another flint rock with a strecker, multi-tool thing. Purification tablets, iodine tablets, I believe, for like cleaning water. I don't know if I trust these. Glow sticks in case you want to start a rave when the zombies are coming. Waterproof ponchos in case you want to stay dry while you run from the zombies. Emergency blanket to let the zombies know it is an emergency. More glow sticks for that rave in the woods. Little headlight if you want to go splunking. Hey, see, it came on. Can you see that? This thing is stupid. This, I'm not gonna take all of it out, but I believe it's for like a snake bite. Go figure. I don't know, but you get bit by a snake, look for one of these. More paracord and carabiners in case you want to climb those mountains in Florida. Just kidding, we don't have mountains in Florida. Okay, what did we learn today? That I really need to go through my preps. Moving on. The thing about what the media and the public did to doomsday preppers is they kind of started using the term prepper as kind of a catch-all for crazy people. It's kind of like a pit bull, you know, like when a dog bites somebody, they go, oh, it was a pit bull. And everybody's like, oh yeah, pit bulls suck. When like 80% of those dogs are not pit bulls at all. So the term prepper should not be looked at with such disdain. Honestly, everybody in Florida is a prepper. I bet nearly every home has some batteries, extra bottles of water, some candles, flashlights, some canned food, or some type of food that you don't have to cook on a stove, and probably a gas or charcoal grill. Why? Because our hurricanes are like world-end scenarios, so you kind of just get used to it. In reality, the people you need to be worried about aren't preppers at all. They are crazy people. And if you don't believe me, all of the following people were self-proclaimed preppers, and what they were arrested for had absolutely nothing to do with prepping. Tyler Smith, who was arrested for felony possession of a firearm, he was featured on the show and gained notoriety for saying he wasn't gonna stockpile food, he was gonna come and take yours.
We are your worst nightmare.
In addition to being delusional, he was arrested back in 2009 for fondling a 14-year-old girl. And this genius was featured on the show with shotguns and everything else, and that's literally what got him arrested.
We're not in it to stockpile. We're in it to come take what you have, and there's nothing you can do to stop us.
I'm sorry, but do any of these people look like they could take over the world? I don't think this guy could take over the Quickie Mart down the street from my house. Jason Thomas, another prepper from Florida, my great home state. He was sentenced to 97 months in federal prison for possession with the intent to distribute cocaine and marijuana, and also felony possession of firearms. What about this says prepper? This is just crazy people and criminals. Martin Winters, another self-proclaimed prepper, also from Florida. Actually, this one is only about half an hour away from where I am right now.
The so-called Valrico doomsday prepper was taken up this morning. It's a case we've been closely tracking ever since Martin Winters allegedly ran from authorities last month and hid out for days in the woods.
He was arrested by the FBI. He was said to have a plan to kill multiple government agents. In 2015 in Michigan, the body of another self-proclaimed prepper was recovered from a burned down mobile home. Apparently, he shot at his neighbors and then set his own house on fire. Does this sound like a prepper to you or a crazy person? I'd argue that this guy was obviously not really prepared at all. One of the big problems the show had is it wanted to sensationalize things. So you didn't get people that were normal and just wanted to be prepared, which is what I think of when you say prepper. What you got were crazy people looking for a platform to flex. But that's what National Geographic wanted, because National Geographic wanted better ratings. And in that way, the show was successful. And then we have Barrett Moore, who some have dubbed the ultimate prepper, a former private military executive, aka mercenary, who ran this company called Triple Canopy, which was making money hand over fist during the Iraq invasion. If Blackwater was Walmart, then Triple Canopy was Target. But like all things involving guns and money, Triple Canopy was rife with scandal. And in 2004, Barrett left the company that he co-founded after being accused of unjust enrichment, stealing money, piracy, and intellectual property theft, among other things. That led him to create Sovereign Deed. That name just screams cult. This was going to be an emergency supply and services company that would cater to the wealthy. It would have compounds that its members would live in that would be stockpiled with food and have a security force to keep them safe, along with a communications network. Now, this isn't all that uncommon of an idea. I'm certain a number of these companies exist out there on the hush-hush. And if you think the government doesn't have plans for going to ground in case of a catastrophe, then you're crazier than bath salt zombies. Their plans just don't include you. Anyway, Moore's dreams of Sovereign Deed never materialized, and he ended up in bankruptcy, which kind of put a black cloud over the whole prepping community. So you have the stigma with the gun community and the term prepper. You have Net Geo really trying to boost ratings by featuring the most extreme cases and some that you would not even call preppers. You had several self-proclaimed preppers getting arrested for all sorts of things, all while the narrative of mass shootings and assault weapons bans was playing out in the background. And then came Adam Lanza, a 20-year-old who family members described as a survivalist / prepper. This gem of a human being went into an elementary school in December of 2012 and killed 26 people in the span of 12 minutes. This obviously sparked a national outcry and reignited the conversation around gun control and mental health. Shortly after this, a lot of talk came out about the role doomsday preppers and that type of culture played in this guy's mindset. I think his mom or someone said his favorite show to watch was Doomsday Preppers, and the media ran with it. Although, like all the other people arrested, his actions had nothing to do with prepping. Change.org started a petition to cancel the series, citing people with mental health issues should not be watching the show, and it could urge them to do things they otherwise wouldn't do. I'd say people with mental issues shouldn't do a host of things, and you can't really blame TV for people being crazy. But nevertheless, you can tie this event to the cancellation of the show about a year later. Now, while the show has been off the air for almost 10 years, the idea of prepping has kind of stuck, and it makes sense why. We live in very uncertain times, although I guess I could say we always have, and multiple incidents have occurred around the world that a little bit of prepping would have gone a long way. Whether it's hurricanes in the Gulf states, tornadoes in the Midwest, fires over in California, or multiple apocalyptic events that have happened abroad. Anecdotally, look at 2019 and the COVID pandemic. People went crazy in the early days, from taking all the water and all the toilet paper to walking around with spacesuits on and eating all the eggs. Imagine if you'd been a prepper and lived on a farm and could grow and kill your own food. Let's say you had well water and acres of land that your family could enjoy, while other people were bunched up in cities, losing their minds and increasing the chances of spreading the virus. Imagine if it had been a different type of virus. Doomsday prepping wouldn't seem so crazy then.